We're back in the year of 1980X. You remember that year, right? It was all brightly colored with magenta. Sure, we all remember that. You know, I'm going to assume that the white highlight means start. Like that, because you have two words, start and quit. One of them is highlighted, the other is not. I'm going to assume white means highlight. Anyway, this game came out last month. It looks like it was a Kickstarted game. The Kickstarter, I believe, was last year. So, game came out fairly quickly after the end of that quick Kickstarter, I guess. Usually it takes a lot longer than 1 year. But I don't know really too much else besides that. I don't know if the developers have any history, if they've made anything else. All I know is that this is sort of a hodgepodge, an amalgamation of different genres that you might have encountered in the 80s, or rather, more the 90s. It's called 1980X. But these games look like Neo Geo games, and that was not the 80s, but we'll forgive them, because whenever anyone tries to evoke 80s nostalgia, the thing they're presenting really doesn't look or sound anything like the 80s. It's kind of a feeling of what you remember the 80s being. That really is nothing at all with the actual 80s. So, we're going to get started. Let's begin. Now, this apparently is episode 1. So, not the longest of games. There are supposed to be more episodes, I believe. But this is the only one that's available now. This train is way up high in the air. Look at those buildings. Fists are clenched, taped up. We are ready to beat up some punks, it looks like. So I guess this is the first game, Beating Heart. I'm not actually putting credits in, I think our character is. Time to begin. Alright, here we go. Let's see, we got punches, we got jumps, I got a jump kick. Look at these punks. That's Psycho, that's Candy. She was carrying a knife, but I didn't see her drop it. Maybe I missed it. Surely I would be able to pick up the knife. See if she drops that. No, I didn't see it. That's surprising. You'd think that she would have dropped the knife and I could have picked it up. That's usually how this goes. Now, of course, what do you do when you see a phone booth in a beat-em-up? You break it, and I got money. You dropped a wad of dollar bills. Now, I know that doesn't seem like any of these people are actually attacking us. They seem like they're just defending themselves, but you know... Oh, there's a throw. Oh, there's like a hurricane kick. Not sure how he did that. You know how the rules of beat-em-ups go. Everyone is here to kill you. You have to enact street justice on the punks, like Noise. Take it, Noise. I don't know if we're here to rescue anyone. Usually that's the way these games go. Got a bat. We didn't see, like, our girlfriend get kidnapped or anything at the beginning. It's a sweet bike. The game feels nice to control. Like, it feels like... I know this isn't, like, the main part of the game. But if you said you were just going to have this as the game, like this beat-em-up section, I wouldn't be surprised. Hubba may be big, but he cannot compare with our moves. I don't know what the name of our character is. I mean, I know it looks like we are just assaulting innocent people who are just hanging out. I'm sure we have a good reason for this. Oh, Coke. Oh, I died. Nope, my character is putting another credit in. I don't know if there's a point where my character will stop putting money in, but let's try to avoid finding out. You might have noticed the jump kick is pretty good, though Bubba was able to get me out of the air a couple times with that. Oh, she slashed me when I was in the air. My health bar is gone, but I'm still fighting. It seems like the fight's still happening. I don't know if the blue hood is on my side or not. But the city looks on, uncaring. The rich look out from their penthouses, not caring about what's going on down on those dirty city streets. Just another night in unnamed metropolis. That's supposed to be evoking 80s New York with all the graffiti and such. I welcome to Suburbia. Got an achievement. See, we don't live in that city after all. We're a suburban kid who's bored because there's nothing to do but play video games.
There I was, up in my room, just like every other night, counting taillights on the highway. Soon the cars below would reach the city, but me, I'd still be here, stuck in sleepy suburbia. Or so I thought. But sometimes extraordinary things will happen if you just let them.
I mean, extraordinary things is not going to happen to us if we're just hanging out in our room all day. I can tell you that from experience. Oh, Yuzo Koshiro's name was on the music. I thought that he did something on the music for this. Okay, we're Kid. That is our character. Our name is our character. We play the Kid, and our name is Kid.
Welcome to Suburbia, just outside the city, sometime in 1980X. What you see around here used to be all that I cared for, because it was all that I knew. It was here that I'd met my first friends, rode my first bike, found my first love, and found out that nothing lasts forever. This is the place I grew up in and grew out of. A place I loved and hated. I remember walking around these blocks for hours, just waiting for something to happen. I knew I needed to move forward, but every day felt like I was on a road to nowhere. The same office buildings and cheap restaurants, the grocery store, the laundromat, and the video rental place where Dad used to take me on the weekends. He'd be looking for classics, while I was more into superheroes. Oh man, we could go on forever. But then, we didn't go there anymore. It was no big deal. These days, I guess I was just looking for anything that could make my heart skip a beat again. And that was when I found it. The factory was built long before I was born, but had been shut down and abandoned for as long as I could remember. Mom used to tell me to stay away from there, but there was something down that pitch black alley that caught my eye. It took all the guts I had to go down the stairs. The basement air was thick with cigarette smoke and 10,000 volts of energy. And in the midst of this electric haze stood an army of high-tech creatures, their huge crystal-clear screens flashing before my eyes. I'd seen video games before. Dad even brought home one black and white model when I was really young. But this was something else. Something you could not take home with you. And this place was definitely no hangout for children. In front of these machines stood some of the coolest, uncool people I had ever seen. They were the freaks, the geeks, the misfits, the outcasts, the real rebels, part of something the outside world could not understand or even knew existed. These guys were all playing trance-like, totally absorbed, as if they experienced something from another dimension. Maybe I could be one of them.
Screw you, society. I'm playing my underground video games. How does this arcade get any business? It seems like it's in a really it's like not advertised or anything. It's like really out of the way. Let's see. Get ready. Rapidly tap on the button to shoot. Hold it to charge the shot. None of the other buttons are doing anything, so it just seems like it's one button. Now our character, the kid, or just kid, seems like they really have no purpose in life. Not to spending time with their family anymore, don't really know what they want to do or where they're going, but then they found video games, and then they knew what the true path was. Not the video games that are for kids, not the video games you buy in your Toys R Us. No kids around here. These are the video games for the mature crowd. I mean, who knows? Some of those mature kids might even be smoking. I bet the arcade games they have here, they hacked the ROMs to take out the winners don't do drugs messages from the start. Just to let you know that the man has no influence here. This is where you can get away from society's rules. You still have to follow the rules of the video game. You can't get away from those rules. The video game rules still... Oh, that's a pretty cool robot. The video game rules still exist. You still must follow them. The rules of the video game are more important than those of society and adults. Because the rules of the video game are at least fair. And even if you mess up, you can keep trying just as long as you have quarters. Of course, you don't really want to think about how the design of arcade games were mostly about trying to bilk as many quarters out of you as possible. Because that might, in your mind take away from the legitimacy and the rebelness of these games, if you thought about that. So let's not think about that. The sprite work in this game is really nice. I mean, I know I'm making fun of the story, but the, not just in the game that we're playing here, but in the cutscenes it was really good. You usually don't see cutscenes made of highly detailed sprite work like that. And even though it's called 1980X and trying to evoke the feelings of the 80s, the games didn't really look like this. Like I said, this really is more of a Neo Geo look. The really big, colorful sprites that you would see in Neo Geo arcade games. Uh-oh. What could have destroyed that? That ship was coming for me, but something else destroyed it. Well, it's a boss that's even bigger and badder. I just went right up into it, didn't I? I'll continue. Fortunately, it does seem to be generous with the checkpoints. But arcade games generally would be. As long as you had enough quarters, they generally would let you just start from wherever you died, because, hey, put more money in. It was only when you had the home versions of the games that... Oh, it's bleeding red oil. Oh, it's organic inside and disgusting. What's this bell we're hearing? Oh no, back to school, back to reality. We don't want to spend time in reality. We have so much more important things to do.
It wouldn't be fair to say I didn't do my best in school. At least for a while, I really tried to make it work. But now, walking those hallways with all those people, I wasn't really there. I was on an asteroid somewhere, fighting space invaders. But then there was her. This punk rocker from the Southern District. She was the wildest thing I'd ever seen. Oh man, that girl was born a rebel. Free to go wherever she wanted to. Free in a way I could still only dream of.
Because she had a car. So that means we need to play an arcade game with a car. So imagine what it would be like if we had a car. Anyway, it looks like it's time for Outrun. I mean, you think about it, how much of a rebel could she be if she has her own car? You know, it takes money to keep it filled with gas and to maintain it. It would imply that she probably has some kind of a job. She has some kind of income that allows her to keep that car. So how much of a rebel could she really be? She's not saying screw the man and play video games all day. I assume that black car was her car. That's just an assumption I'm making. But it seemed like it was the case. I like how we're racing against station wagons. You'd hope our car would be able to beat them. So, Sega had a series of arcade games that use a technology called Superscaler, which is what this game is emulating the look of. It's a very distinct look, where you have giant 2D sprites smoothly just scaling at you. bump that car. You'd think it would slow down that car. No, it only slows down my car. But I guess my car is the only one that matters. Don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't see a checkpoint. It was gonna be night when we got out of this tunnel. Time's up. Oh, got hit. I'm getting hit by cars. Alright, did we start from here? Alright. Don't have a map. Can't tell how long the track is. I guess all we can do is just make it to the place where we stopped at the end of that tunnel and see if we can keep going past it. Alright, we're getting out of the tunnel. I've got a lot of time now. The atmosphere just changed. Now I have all the time in the world. We're leaving our suburban home behind, heading towards the big city, where we're going to wrap our fists up and fight some
hanging out in the arcade almost every night. Standing there beside the other players, watching every move their fingers made. This was the real thing. Another life was just one credit away. Down here, I found new worlds and new meaning. I could be whoever I wanted to be. Travel to outer space, experience fantasy and fear, or just take a walk on the wild side of town. But nothing could beat the rush of the highway. The speeding cars reminding me that there was a way out, a road to somewhere. city on the horizon. I'd drive all night to get to that place. It wasn't just about the escape. It was about transformation. For every visit I made, every game I uncovered, every move I mastered, I felt stronger, more confident. Some guys said I was nothing but a dreamer, completely out of touch with reality. But I don't know. Down here, I was free. I was in control. No one told me where to go or what to do. The only bad part about it was having to come back up to the real world.
I guess we all run out of time eventually. The game can never last forever. Back when we were kids, life was so much easier. You could go from bug collector in the morning to bank robber before bedtime. Anything was possible. Then came high school, and everyone got brainwashed. People started seeing you the way they wanted to see you. Be the brain, be the clown, be the troublemaker, be popular. People would define you in the most convenient way. And then, that's who you are. They say that when you grow up, something inside you dies. I'm still not sure if that's good or bad. When you're a child, shadows seem darker and lights seem brighter.
everything is more terrifying and more exciting at the same time.
But enough about that. It's time for video games. Alright, so we're going to deal with our feelings of being out of place and not having any role in society by immersing ourselves in arcade games. We're going to play some Shadow Play. Alright, let's see. We're slashing, I'm jumping. I like how I'm slashing without, I'm not even pulling out a sword. I'm so fast with my slashing, it creates no animation. That's how you know I'm a true ninja. Keep swinging that sword. Getting the, I assume. Oh, I got enough blue orbs that my sword is now much bigger. My sword has elongated. Mind the spikes. Up. Oh, should have gotten that one down there. But I can jump down there, of course. That's the only guy who can actually hit me. I gotta watch out for his kunai that he throws at me. All these other samurai pulling out their swords, they can't do anything. They just get slashed in the middle. Kind of makes you feel bad for them. Here's this guy. I got hit again. Having trouble dodging his thing. What I need to do is get so many orbs that my sword gets so big that it just goes across the entire screen. There we go. It really isn't difficult. I'm not sure what part of our character's pathos this game represents. Is the feeling of power, being able to slash our way through our problems and feelings of just not belonging? I'm glad that sword hits behind me. Whoop. It's a bad place to jump. I mean, it's a boulder will do it, I suppose. I wonder if our parents are wondering what we're doing every night as we head to the seedy side of town and spend all night in the arcade. Then we come home at who knows what hour in the morning, wake up for school all bleary-eyed, and obviously not thinking about any of our lessons because we have games on the mind. Games not of the type that you could take home with you, but the type that they're arcade games, so you can't do that. They're large. You can't just pick one up and take it. The owner of the arcade would probably be upset with you if you try to do that. But it's the only thing we can think of. It's the only thing on our mind. It's the only place that we feel like we belong. Well, that was silly. You know, we're way into the cool rebel girl at school, but I wonder, what would happen if she wasn't into video games? We had to choose between video games and the girl. What possible choice could we make? And would video games help us with our social skills in attempting to talk to the girl? I mean, after all, we're talking about arcade games, and there weren't any visual novel arcade games. So that could be a real problem for us. I'm doing badly at this. Okay. Made the checkpoint. It was the pits that were mostly the problem. I actually can't turn around, so maybe I just have to escape him. Nope. Just try to get close to him to see if I could slash. No, slashing does not seem to work. Jumped into it. And it starts getting faster and starts doing combos. Middle and low at the same time. Well, looks like our ninja was fated to die, but I guess we achieved Darklands? That's what that seems to say. But that did not help her depression.
I used to love the weekends. Watching cartoons on early morning TV without a care in the world. The whole family together, free to do whatever we wanted to. Going for long rides in our car, me falling asleep in the back seat, and getting carried to bed when we got home. But then this thing with Dad happened. And now, I wasn't sure our family would ever be able to put the pieces back together. Being home alone with Mom, watching her too fall apart. I couldn't stand it. I had to go somewhere. Anywhere. I just had to get out. I used to fantasize about the city, vaguely planning my escape, but never actually getting on the train. Instead, I kept hanging around at the video store, seeking comfort in made-up stories where I could pretend I was someone else. Mom would always tell me to quit dreaming and get back into the real world. I couldn't care less. That night at the arcade, everything changed.
Alright, let's take a look at the game that changed everything. Time to run. Alright, let's do that. It's compiling the maze, gotta kill some dragons. Well, we're in a first-person dungeon. This doesn't exactly seem like an arcade game, though. Let's slash. What if I used a beam? Everything changed that night. I was introduced to RPGs. I'd never played such a game as this. A game where I didn't control the character directly with my D-pad, but rather I chose options from a menu. My stir is down. Gotta push the button to get up. There we go. I mean, I was used to games where I was running and jumping on platforms and slashing monsters, but these monsters, they appeared randomly in some kind of random battle, just like the random battles I used to have at school. I used to be able to talk to Dad about what to do during those random battles. Not anymore. Not since what happened. But now it was like this game was like it was trying to tell me something about my life, about the way I was going, trying to find my way through this dungeon called life. I just keep getting defeated again and again. And sometimes I'm grounded and I can't leave at night to go to the arcade, but I sneak out because Mom doesn't know. Mom doesn't care. I keep looking around this maze, but all the passageways stay the same. It's a question I ask myself every night. I used to not ask myself those questions when I was a kid. I would go to the video store with Dad. The game mocked me for my weaknesses, for my unsurety, just like my classmates did at school. Well, what could I do but just keep trying? Just keep going. Find 3 dragons. I have to find those dragons. No, I get the reference. It's 1980X. That reference I'd already know because I played it on the NES. I have to find my own 3 personal dragons and slay them. Can I do that? Can I work my way through the jellyfish and the aliens to finally find them? No, these games were not games to me. They were the things that I used to escape from my real life, the things that I wish could replace my real life. My suburban life that seems like it should provided me everything I ever wanted, but just filled me with emptiness. Now I confronted the blue dragon, and I wondered, is there anything that I could really do against it? As the dragon fell dead, it seemed oddly realistic, and the walls around me started shaking, losing their cohesion. I started wondering, does this mean that... I couldn't figure out if it meant that my life was meaningless, or did it mean that the game was meaningless? It was hard to tell what the metaphor it was going for was. Seemed like the only thing the game wanted me to do was figure out what each of these monsters' weaknesses were from a list of 3 before I died. It didn't seem like that big of a deal. But was it trying to tell me that that's what life really came down to? Taking a look at the options you have available to you and think about which of these 3 options will be the thing that lets me kill the person in front of me. Maybe that's really all there was to life. And I had to pick the right one before they killed me. As I killed my personal dragons, I felt myself being freed from robots. Well, I wasn't free from the robots yet. I did have to overcome them first. I wasn't really sure, again, what the metaphor was it was going for here, because we had jellyfish, we had dragons, we had aliens, we have like a group of Terminators. I'm sure if I sleep on this, I'll realize what it is it's trying to tell me, but it was just kind of unclear at the moment. I knew I shouldn't stay up. I would just regret it the next day. I wouldn't be able to stay up during school. I'd be able to just... My head would just keep nodding off. No matter how hard I tried. I wouldn't be able to stop myself from just falling asleep. They would ask me if everything's all right at home, and what could I say? Home was home. What happens if it was never all right at home? What if the only place it was ever all right was in the video game? I mean, that's just a statement. That's not even... So the game said, but I defeated all my personal dragons. Haven't I weathered the storm? And that's when Shodan appeared, and again, I was not really entirely clear on what the metaphor was here. None of my attacks seem to do anything. Should I just follow his instructions and just not do anything? Should I embrace the robot mom? I could try heal. But do I heal myself, or do I heal her? Or do we heal both of us together? My heal option vanished, but my hit points still remain. Robot Mom took away each of my options one by one. I mean, the whole game's been about being a bored, disaffected suburban youth who has no fulfillment at home and no dreams or aspirations and just doesn't really know what to do after high school, so the person escapes in video games. I think it's kind of clear why we're doing this. We listened. There was just nothing we could do about it. We felt there was nothing we could do to change ourselves or improve the situation around us, so what could we do? We just acted like we didn't care. And so I beat the weird arcade game, I suppose. It was kind of odd. It was different from most other arcade games. Didn't have to put many quarters in. Usually they're quarter munchers, but this one wasn't. So I just didn't have anything left to do after beating all of the arcade games in the arcade. They had to shut.
What happened that night? I honestly couldn't say. I was still there, but nothing was the same.
Push button. I have buttons. I'll have to keep pushing this button. Hold on. I'm glad Dragon survived.
It was not over.
Dragon was my favorite.
It was just beginning.
That is not true, because I think the credits are about to start. I feel that was the end of this. You can't say that it was just starting when it's actually just ending, even if it says to be continued. Anyway, I knew this was a chapter 1 of multiple chapters, as I said at the beginning, though I don't know when other chapters are supposed to come out. So, were we pulled into the video game, or did our arcade game desires manifest in the real world? Because if it did, that's going to be a problem when we bring that dragon home. What are we even going to do with that dragon? I mean, a spaceship is cool, but it'd be difficult to maintain it and figure out where to park it. The car? Hey, the car is great. We're in high school. We want a car, so hey, getting that car is great. But what about the punk with the mohawk and the bat? We beat him up a whole bunch of times in that game, and I don't think it's very good that he's in the real world now. Anyway, this is very short. Like I said, there's only going to be one chapter. I really liked it. I really liked the visuals. It's different to see cutscenes and story being told with that kind of large, detailed sprite art. And each of the games were surprisingly well done, considering how short each of them were. Like the beat 'em up at the beginning, that seemed like that could have been extended into a larger thing. And it really goes for each of the games. Well, maybe not the RPG at the end. The RPG seemed kind of limited. But the beat 'em up, the shmup, the driving game, the ninja game seemed like they could have been made more into bigger things on their own. Great visuals, great music. I get what they were going for with the story, but I think as an adult myself, I don't really relate with the perspective of disaffected suburban youth who grows up with well-to-do parents and just has nothing to do and is very bored and, isn't everything difficult? Maybe at one time I would have related more to it, but I think now that I'm older, that particular character doesn't do too much for me. Remember when we were in elementary school? Things were so much easier. Then we went into high school and I wasn't popular anymore. And I like this girl, but she doesn't want to talk to me. Where did my friends go? I don't have any. I gotta escape in video games. So I understand that. I understand where that's coming from, and that perspective. It just doesn't. I don't really feel it's like that. It doesn't. We don't know. Okay, we don't know what happened to his father. He said something happened with his dad, so maybe that could add some additional pathos to his backstory. We don't actually know what happened to his dad. But at the same time, from what we saw, it seemed like things were doing all right for him. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed playing this. And the length of the games were just right for my low attention span. You don't have to spend too long on anything. We spent a few minutes on this, now it's on to the next thing. Keep feeding my need for new stuff. The story just kind of... I don't really know what was happening with the story at the end. Like, for most of the game, it seemed like it was trying to be kind of like maybe grounded in the idea of this kid has no purpose and just really is drifting through life and is escaping in video games. And it seemed like it was a bit more grounded in that respect. But then at the end, we played the, I don't know, haunted arcade game, and then Shodan appeared, and then we brought our video game dreams into the real world, and I don't know what that was about. Like, I don't really know what they were going for there. Maybe that story will be expanded on in the next chapter. But just as this on its own, as like just a standalone thing, I don't really get what we were going for at the end there. It seemed like you didn't really need a haunted arcade machine. Unless the kid was dead the whole time. Maybe the kid died at the beginning of the game, and then we were just, our soul was traveling to the afterlife, we were experiencing it through the only way we know how, the only experiences that our character knew, and that is video games. I mean, when you travel into the afterlife, it's going to have to take the form of something that you know and you're familiar with. So, I mean, what else but video games? I always like with Kickstarted games when you get to the credits, and they always have an absolutely massive credits list because they have to list all the backers. They could have used more than one column. There's kind of a lot of space. I'm just saying that. Thanks a million. You see, it's had the insert coin sound. You see what it did. And the achievement says thank you for playing, which is nice. So that's 1980X. Yeah, it seems like the whole thing. And I guess we could go back and play the games again. Does it have an options menu, by the way? It didn't have the beginning. No, it's just a start and quit. So I guess it doesn't let you play the games individually. Because there's no like option menu that appeared here or anything saying, hey, do you want to just play them without the story? I kind of expected it would, but no, I guess not. I guess you would have to play through the story again. Yeah, so overall, I liked it. I liked how it looked, how it sounded. I like how the games played for the most part. I liked how short they were because it kept giving me new things to look at. And overall, I did like the voice acting. Even though, like I said, when it comes to this particular kind of character, I kind of grew out of it a while back. But overall, I like 1980X, and I'm sure that I will be interested in playing Chapter 2 whenever that might happen. I have no idea when that's supposed to happen. Like I said, I really didn't know anything about this before tonight. But, I just saw it mentioned somewhere and thought I'd give it a try. I'm glad I did, because I enjoyed what we saw. Very short. But I don't know. I don't know if the next chapter is supposed to have another round of new games, or would they expand and polish on the ones that we already had, or does that kid send his army of video game slaves to destroy the real world? I don't know what that ending was about. I don't know where they're going with that. Are there going to be other kids who also have video game slaves and like they fight each other like Pokemon? Is chapter 2 going to be like Pokemon, where we have our video game beasts, and then we have like maybe that girl we like, maybe it'll turn out she has a whole bunch of video game slaves, and then we have to fight each other. Like, look, I'm just spitballing. I don't know if that's where this is going. Like I said, I have no idea what that ending was supposed to mean, or where that was supposed to go, or what it has to do with our main character's pathos. Just a bit puzzled by that. But that's it for 1980X. And whenever Chapter 2 comes out, I'm sure I will play that.